I want to give a little bit of history about Java before we get actually into the programming, and then some of the basics before we get into our first program. Uh, so first off, Java was created by James Gosling and his team of developers back in 1995, and it was originally created to run applets or small programs on web pages. And this was the time here when the web was just starting to explode. The Pentium processor was just released there in 1993, and the home PCs were just now starting to take hold and be part of the computing culture. So it was started off by Sun Microsystems and then bought out by Oracle in 2010. Program features. Let's talk about some of the program features for Java. First off, it's object-oriented programming. Okay, this means that it uses objects and modules and classes to organize how programs are put together. And we're going to talk more about that later in the semester. Next thing I want to talk about here for program features is it's platform neutral, okay? Meaning that any device that can run a Java virtual machine can run your Java program, okay? So you write the program, your source code once, and then you can run that on many platforms. So it's one source code, lots of different platforms. So if you're running a Mac, if you're running a PC, if you're running a smartphone, you're running any other type of main device on it that can run a Java virtual machine, you can run your Java programs. And what happens is we take our source code, we type in, we code, that gets formatted into bytecode, and the bytecode is the actual code that gets run on the virtual machine. Next thing we want to talk about here is memory allocations and deallocations. Java takes care of that automatically for us. So if you're coming from a C and C++ environment, okay, you had to allocate and deallocate the memory manually. Well, Java takes care of that. So that's a big deal on that. So it keeps our resources running very efficiently. Also, I want to point out here, Java does not include pointers. So if you're coming from the C and C++ side of the house up there, you're not going to find any pointers in Java. There's other ways of doing it and we'll talk about that later in the semester. And one other point here is Java includes only single inheritance. This goes back to the object-oriented type of programming on here. But it means up here we can only have one source of inheritance. So if you're coming from a C and C++ side of the house, you're going to find out you only have single inheritance on the Java side of the house. IDE, Integrated Development Environments. Let's talk about these. There are two major players. There's Eclipse and NetBeans. And what these IDEs do is they give us a framework or shell in which we can write our code. And it will check our syntax. It will check to see if we have the proper libraries loaded. So it really does a good thing on expediting and making our code writing very efficient. Eclipse was the first to the market. It's open source. It uses lots of plugins. And hence, therefore, it has a little more larger market share. On the other hand, NetBeans is sponsored by Oracle, and it's used by a lot of corporations, and it sort of matches the Visual Studio look and feel. So if you're coming from the Microsoft side of the house, you're going to feel real comfortable moving into NetBeans. It's often asked, do I need an IDE to code? No, you can write everything in Notepad if you wanted to. However, you're going to find out that Notepad will not check your syntax, not check your library connections, and will not find a lot of errors. So using an IDE makes your coding very efficient and it will expedite your code writing.